Welcome back everybody to Barbera Outdoors, and today we have the Smith & Wesson 686, the 6-shot 6-inch 357 by Smith & Wesson. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at this gun today. Alrighty, so the Smith & Wesson 686 is obviously a 6-inch barrel with just under a 12-inch overall length. Coming in at 44.8 ounces, it's a relatively heavy firearm, but in the terms of revolvers, it's not that bad. In the grand scheme, revolvers can be, of course, a lot heavier than this, so this one isn't too much of a burden to bear. My primary way to carry this is in a so this is the crossbeam, but it is a chest holster, and that also kind of goes into why I got this firearm. So, living up in the north, I do bow hunt and everything else like that up here, as well as I, fly fish and a whole bunch of other outdoor activities. So having a higher caliber revolver to have on your persons is kind of a great deal to have. I also have a 38 special revolver, so I did kind of take a step down from the 44 Magnum to go to the 357. A lot of people might narc you on that, but where I live, I don't necessarily have a problem with grizzlies or anything else like that. More so black bears, which any of the outdoorsmen know that black bears are more skittish than fight or flight, and so I didn't really have to worry about anything too big. And I wanted the opportunity to also shoot 38 special, which this gun obviously does have. They call the Smith & Wesson a L frame revolver, so make sure you do that when you're buying a secondary grip if you'd like. It comes with the Smith & Wesson branded rubber grips, but I do know that, of course, there are a bunch of third parties that make wood grips, as well as Hogue makes a personalized one for your grips as well. I like the Smith & Wesson right here. It is comfortable. It also helps with any type of recoil, because I find that, heavier, more powerful revolvers do tend to be more of a feeling of into the hand opposed to flip. When you get away kind of from those snub nose revolvers and get to the full length barrels, I do find that you'll feel more recoil coming back opposed to kicking up. That might be something with me personally, but you can always leave your opinion as well. Jumping into the sights that come with this 686, I'll pop to a close-up right here. You will see that it comes with a red ramp front sight, as well as your U adjustable kind of back sight, somewhat similar to what a Glock, as you might say. They're pretty dang accurate. That red pops up when you do come up with a firearm, but that is if you have enough light. Under a bit more dark situations, because I have obviously walked out with this firearm into the woods early in the morning and late at night when I'm deer hunting, taking it, looking at, feeling it while in that situation, it is a bit harder to see that red ramp. It's better than just having a blacked out one or anything else like that, like my other revolver, but there can be some improvement on there. Of course, and having the ability to adjust this left, right, up, and down is also a plus. There's a lot of fixed revolver sights out there that I would want to be as accurate as possible with this revolver. The big debate for me personally was the Smith & Wesson 686 as well as the Ruger SP101. And it came back really to two issues that I had with the Ruger, why I didn't go with it. First one is magazine capacity or cylinder capacity. Obviously, as stated before, the 686 is a 6-shot revolver, opposed to the SP101 is a 5-shot revolver. And when you're carrying this in the woods for bear or anything bigger than what you're equipped to hunt for, having an extra round is, preferable. Other than that was the grip. And trigger-wise, actually. The grip for the SP101 is great. It looks nice. It has the inlaid wood on it. But it is very small, and when you need to have quick follow-up shots, because you got to think, let's say a black bear decides to get courage and you start firing at it, you want to have the ability to manage that recoil. And this SP101 seemed a bit too small for me. I was looking at the 4-inch version at that time, and as well the trigger. The trigger for the SP101 is pretty atrocious. I would say in comparison to Smith & Wesson. Of course, the SP101s by Ruger are still high quality. They're still good triggers, but with the smoothness of this double action and how light that single action pull, I couldn't really debate on getting the Smith. The barrel length wasn't really an issue in comparison between the two. This is obviously the 6-inch again, but they do make I think a 4 1/4 inch barrel as well. My thought process is I'm not necessarily going to be hiking with this firearm for days on end or miles on end. I'm truck camping, hunting. I park my truck, I walk possibly maximum 2 miles, maybe a mile, and then I get in my stand or I sit on the ground or climb a tree using my climber. So I don't necessarily have to worry about something that's too overly heavy, like a 6-inch barrel opposed to the 4-inch barrel. They do provide a safety for this revolver. So what are you talking about? A revolver that has a safety. Obviously not your typical flip safety or thumb safety as you see on most semi-autos nowadays, but right above the cylinder release button right there, there is and a close-up right there, a keyed one, I would say, a turn-in key. By putting in that key right there and turning it counterclockwise to the left, it locks the firearm and effectively locks the hammer from being pulled back at all. Obviously, then, of course, you wouldn't be able to pull the trigger either. My whole idea is that would only be useful in the aspect of locking it away if you weren't, planning on doing with it. But I personally don't mess with that at all. It'd just be another thing that I have to worry about unlocking if I ever needed the firearm. The whole gun itself is set in a stainless finish with stainless materials, and it is a very gorgeous firearm. You have Smith & Wesson stamped right on the underside of that cylinder release, with the big Smith & Wesson 357 Magnum being right up front stamped on the barrel. You have the serial number as well as the model number right on that release gate right there. On the other side, you got that big Smith & Wesson logo with that beautiful Made in USA at Springfield, Massachusetts. Alright, I believe we've talked about this gun just about enough, so let's head over to the range, do some shooting, and tell my final thoughts. Ow.
So all of this shooting is sped up just to save some time so you guys aren't sitting here forever. And this is all done at 10 yards or 30 feet, obviously. These are both going to be 6-shot groupings with 158, I believe, Arms Core full metal jackets. First grouping didn't do too shabby, and then the second grouping here, I think is really where it kind of shows you how accurate this gun can be. Minus, of course, my shooting. I will 100% chalk up that this variation in where this grouping goes as 100% me.
Alright, now finishing up with the Smith & Wesson 686 and 357 Magnum. I enjoy the gun, I love the gun, and I'm happy I bought it. It is one of the most accurate handguns I have. Of course, that's equated to the 6-inch barrel and the high speed of the 357 round. Now, if I ever got a trip to Alaska, would I carry something bigger? Most likely. If I ever got like a big old moose hunt in Alaska or something like that, you'd be probably seeing me with a 460 or a 500 Smith & Wesson, just because I think that stopping power you need for those situations is more applicable. But you have a beautiful firearm that is extremely accurate and is a great showpiece to show people when you have it. So I am more than pleased with that. Now, I might be a little swayed by that response, but I absolutely love this gun. It has an amazing double action with such a beautiful single action on top of it. It fits perfectly on your chest or on your hip, however you'd like to carry it. And I am so happy that I own this revolver. It's a beautiful one. So thank you for swinging by on this episode of Firearm Friday. If you have any firearms you'd like me to get my hands on, talk about, shoot, and review, leave it in a comment, as well as some constructive criticism. Please be wary on me. I'm not full-time and I edit all these myself, so give a guy a chance and everything else like that. But again, thank you for joining. See you next week at Firearm Friday.
left. Got him.